Oh my god, there's something in my eye. Wow. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Pixi again, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Pixi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever you have to be doing when you're watching this, I hope you're having a fabulous day, night, evening, whatever. Tonight I just want to do another awkward video, of course, because all we do is awkward here, and I'm going to talk about books. Yay, books! And it's also a fashion video, because they're books about fashion. So let's get started. Yay! So, I'm old. Well, apparently I'm considered old as a YouTuber by age. My channel is still young, but you know what I mean. I'm in my 30s. So I remember back in my day, walked 10 miles through the snow. Anyway, back in my day, we didn't have Tumblr, we didn't have Pinterest, we didn't have Facebook. Even before MySpace and Livejournal, if you wanted to dress a certain way, you basically had to pull from your own inspiration, or you'd see somebody at a club, a concert, on the street, and be like, wow, that's cool, and you either emulated it or you became inspired by it. But we also had a little thing called books, and I love books of all sorts. I read a lot. My favorite books are fantasy and sci-fi, and I like true crime. You know, I love anything that gets the wheels turning. I like mystery. I'll read a comedy book. I love young adult. Anyways, that's not what this whole video is about, but one of my favorite places was Borders and Walden Books, or two of my favorite places, and of course the library if you were on a budget or if you weren't going to commit to buying a book. And books are becoming like a thing of the past, and it really makes me sad because books are just amazing. You can find out anything, and I don't know, there's just something like the smell of a book and being able to hold it in your hands, because yes, while Pinterest and Tumblr and places like Facebook are amazing to connect with other people, when it came to fashion and music, you're kind of on your own, and you had to kind of discover it on your own. And what helped was books, because that's what people did. They had books. So I'm going to do it by basically words. I have them, I promise, different subcultures, and there will be some honorable mentions in here because you either can't get the books anymore or they're kind of dated in the information. So we will just get right into it. This might be lengthy. I'm just kind of waving a book around, so we'll just get started with this one. This is one of the honorable mention ones. This actually got me through some of the Gothic subcultures when I was a baby bat, if you will, when I was going through my little Gothic phase in high school. And this book is still, I mean, well, a bookmark is actually falling out of it because it was still useful, but at the time it was more up to date because people had like goth.net, and they actually had their personal websites, you know, like if you remember GeoCities or like the goth.net website, like it was a community almost like a goth alternative social media. And this 21st Century Goth actually had fanzines and web rings, which is a very old style social media. If you had a web page, you could put it on a web ring for free, and it would get people to visit your personal site or your band site. And while, like I said, this is pretty dated, it's from the late 99, 98 to the early 2000s, and this is one of my favorite models. Alternative models in the beginning was Aconite. I mainly bought this book because she was on the cover, so it's like a collector's item to me. She was my first alt model that I fell in love with. But you can still look up bands in the back, and there are some pictures, but it's not really a fashion book per se. It's about the subculture, and if you want a little bit of a history about how goth started, this is a good book to pick up if you can find it. I'm sure there's some sellers on Amazon if you buy them used. I think this one was actually used because it has Magers and Quinn on the SKU, and I did not pay $20 for it. I do believe I found this on Amazon because mine was stolen or lost a long time ago. But yeah, this is a good reference for the goth subculture, and you can actually see like what the websites looked like if they're still active, or get an idea of like different bands. If you want to discover new old music, this is a good encyclopedia type book to go through. I'm just going to drop them on the floor because they don't belong in this room, and I'll just put them away later. The second goth book, well, I'm going to talk about these basically at the same time, is Gothic Charm School. It just talks about literally what it sounds like. There's Gothic etiquette. It also has like some fashion tips. It's not a picture book, you know, it just says like do and do nots, like For example, the first thing I turn to is Why Friends Don't Let Friends Dress Like the Crow, because I'm not knocking the crow, but we've all seen the baby bats with the gothic crow makeup and the white face. And it tells you like proper etiquette on the internet when you're a goth, and I don't know, it's just like a must read if you're into the gothic subculture or anything alternative. It just tells you like, it came out in 2009, so it's not too old, but it is still a little dated. But yes, Julie Venters, I believe, has her own website as well. Yeah, it's gothicharmschool.com. So she is really like the curator of gothic etiquette on the internet and in life. So this is a good read. I actually, again, had to buy another copy because mine was lost or stolen. Thank you, my fellow baby bats in high school. I'm sure it's floating around in somebody's bedroom if it's not at some Goodwill or destroyed. Just fun. And the third book that's more of the gothic subculture is the Goth Bible by Nancy Kilpatrick, and it's just exactly what it says. It's kind of like the 21st century goth, where it's more of like a reference. There are bands, there are websites. Oh, slightly stupid flyer, awesome. Goths, like elder goths and stuff like that, like what happens when you become like you build a family, you're not going to be able to go to the clubs anymore. Do people still dress goth at addresses, stuff like that. So this is another good read, and it's just, if you're into any alternative culture, these are just good reads and for inspiration, and they're just really resource books. Moving on. So that's it for the gothic ones so far, but the last gothic book kind of falls into a different category. It's getting hot in here because I'm talking. My sweater. So these are kind of honorable mentions because these are not about subculture, but these books kind of helped me. This one comes in second place, How to Be a Budget Fashionista. But the Fashionista Files, you can see I've read this many times. This is not about goth, but some of the things it talks about is like higher end. Like if you are interested in, say, going to New York City and you want to know where to shop, it kind of tells you like how to save money. It tells little stories about the two authors, Melissa Day Cruz and Karen Rubinovitz. I think it's how you pronounce it, but it looks like Robinovitz. But they talk about their adventures into high fashion, but there's even some DIY stuff and you know, how to fake it till you make it in the fashion world, but it just has lots of inspiration and how to DIY stuff and how to thrift stuff and make it look fabulous. So this is a really good read if you're just into fashion in general. And by the way, I will try to link as many of these as possible down below, but they'll probably be like used on Amazon because some of these are kind of dated. But yeah, I read this many times, and it's like fashion don't leave home without it kind of book. And it just has these like little quips and quirky little tales of their adventures and how they found their style, so it's kind of like helpful as to like how to build your style and not spend an arm and a leg, and that's why I got it. Fashionista Files is a great read. And this book was kind of trying to be like Fashionista Files. It literally says and feels like the same kind of book, but I just couldn't get into it. But it just says, know your budget, learn innovative money-saving ways to increase your clothing funds, know your style, get helpful hints from fashion insiders, and know your bargains. You know, it's just basically the same thing, but it's kind of downsized, and for some reason, it's a good read, but I just didn't reach for it again. I've read Fashionista Files more than once, so I mean, if you just want a quick read, I found this at Borders in the same section, obviously. Look at that classic Borders sticker. Oh, I miss that store so much. If you still have a Borders, I think they completely went out of business. I think it's just Barnes & Noble now, but if you still have a bookstore that you love in your hometown, please let me know down below. Maybe I'll come visit it. And next we're going to get more into the fashion lookbooks, but they still have words in them like introductions and like photo credits, and I'm running out of breath because I just get excited talking about books, and it's just fun to look at these books and just, I don't know, they can help you, like, they can inspire you, they can give you tips on how to inspire a wardrobe. I just get really excited. It's a nerdy book video. So now we're going to get more into the like subculture picture books, and I feel like I'm kind of going to go in a different order than this is stacked. And let's do this. One is falling apart, so I'm like careful not to. I broke my camera today, but I taped it back together with rainbow tape. Innovative. DIY. The next set of books kind of go together. Well, they definitely go together. They're the same publisher and the same author, and many people who are watching this have probably already imagined that this would be the first one I talk about, but I kind of wanted to get the more texty books out of the way before I did these. This is the Fruits book, and then this is Fresh Fruits, and then this is Gothic and Lolita. These books are falling apart. They are beautiful photograph books, and I'm sure everybody watching this, like I said, knows exactly what the Fruits community is, but if you do not know, Fruits was a magazine, the #1 magazine in Japan for street fashion, and they made books on them because I could not get my hands on the magazines. So these are just beautiful books. They are just full. Oh wow, I turned from that one to, yeah, what are the odds? To, I mean, it's just what they were on the streets in Harajuku, and these came out before Gwen Stefani. No offense, Gwen, I love you, but she didn't invent the style, I'm just saying. So these books, if you can get your hands on these, or like if you buy nothing else or find nothing else from this video, take a look at Fruits, because even if you're not into very colorful clothing, you just see the layers and the process and the progress of how this style develops and why people from the Western world pull it from the Eastern world. And ironically enough, they're actually trying to dress like people in America and Europe because they're trying to emulate us because their rules are so strict over there. Like, yeah, you have to appreciate the beauty. So that was the first Fruits book. And if you have this already, comment down below. I love meeting fellow Fruits people. And then they came out with Fresh Fruits, which is the follow-up to the same idea. And then, see, I bookmarked so many of these just to get ideas, and I go back to them. And my bookmarks are always like magazine pullouts or old mail, or flyers, as you saw the Slightly Stupid one. And they're just fun to look at. If you're ever feeling bummed and not inspired, just take a look at these books. They're just so colorful, and just, it gets my motivation going to make outfits and like restyle. If I'm feeling like, oh, I already wore that so many times, what else can I do? And then just, I don't know, they're great. They're by, I think you pronounce it Phaidon. If you look up this publisher, they make a ton of art books and fashion books, and they're just a great publisher overall. And the last one in that series is Goth and Lolita. This was their last one, I believe. I haven't looked lately, but I think this was the last one in that series for Japanese fashion, but it's exactly what it reads. Gothic and Lolita. Lolita is another subculture that stems from Japan. It's very girly and dolly and sweet and innocent, and I just love it. I could never pull it off, but it's cool to pull inspiration from it with the petticoats and the frills. And then of course you have the extreme club wear that they wear on the streets of Harajuku at night, and it's just such a fun book to go through. I pull this one out a lot because it's just so many petticoats and corsets and lingerie. Like, isn't she fabulous, or they? And oh my gosh, they're just so wonderful. These are great books. Again, if you can get your hands on these or borrow them from a friend, they are worth a look. And they don't last long on my bookshelf. I'm always like, they're always stacked nearby. I'll like organize my books for the month, and I'm like, nope, Fruits is coming out, Gothic and Lolita is coming out. The last, well, almost the last, but we're just going to do them in this order now. This one I kind of bought because of Fruits, but it's not the same publisher. This is by Chronicle Books, and as you can see, I looked at it to death. This is called Japanese Schoolgirl Inferno, and it touches up on the street style of Harajuku, but it also talks about the different eras of it. So while I take the cover off, I just love the artwork. Look at that. It is so cute. Oh my gosh. So it's just the Tokyo Teen Fashion Handbook, and by handbook I mean it literally has timelines of how these styles evolved and what they actually are into, like what the culture's like. So it's not just about the fashion, it's why they dress like it. There's literally a subculture in here, or like a subculture of a subculture, where women or teenagers try to dress younger than they are to lure old men so they can get sugar daddies. And I'm like, good on you if you want to do that, because they're literally gold diggers, and that's what their whole subculture is about. So I'm like, knock yourself out if you got the confidence to do it. See, it literally has like a pull-out. It's almost like a mini poster within the book, and it shows you the evolution of the Harajuku / Japanese schoolgirl, hence Inferno. And it just exploded like my book did. And it's just cool to read about it, and like they show little charts like what people wear, and like white tennis shoes, high heels, like depending on which subculture it is. So it's a really fun book, as you can see. I don't know if it was poorly made or if I just looked at it that much, but I love this book. And I lost it a couple times too, and I was like, oh my god, I found it again. This is one of my favorites. as you can tell by the state of it. Moving on. This one is called Fashion Forever. It's 30 years of subculture, and it's literally exactly as it sounds. These are various photographers, and it just shows you the evolution of different subcultures, and it doesn't really have descriptions in it. It's literally just, literally, say it one more time. Drink every time I say literally. It's just photos of what the young groups of, you know, each era were wearing. Usually rebellion and like the 70s. I think it starts in, yeah, there's some old street punks. It's just so fun to look at. There's some skinheads in here, and you know, there's just all the different scenes. Let's see. There are even some celebrities throughout, and it's just a fun book. Let's see. And there's definitely color and black and white. I mean, the looks are endless. It's just typical streetwear and clubwear. I love her look. Like that. Just, yes. Boom. Rocket girl. I love it. So if you're interested in this book, I did buy this for $25, I believe, and I did find it on Amazon. Again, I'll try to link all these below that I can. And it's just good quality. It's a nice, like, still flexible, whatever you call that material, like not quite paperback, but not quite hardback, but it's just a good display piece too, and always good for some inspiration. And now we are on to the bigger books that I'm really excited about. Well, I'm excited about all of these, but this is like the grand finale to me. Before I get into that, just like the Fashionista Files, I have this book, but it's just kind of like, it's a beginner's guide. If you don't know how to find your style or what body shape you are, I used this book, and in my seamstress, like while I was going to school, I actually used this as a reference book. I do believe this came from my school, but I can still try to link it below. And I don't know, it just says like for, like, it even talks about makeup, like, do you want a muted look, this is what to use. If you don't like know what to wear, like for your body type, it lists that. It's just a basic reference book for all things fashion, and it's just a fun read if you want to like know what suits you or what you're supposed to wear in your body type. And I'm like, I don't care if you're fat, skinny, thin, perfect, medium, curvy, wear whatever the hell makes you happy, just fucking wear it. Excuse me, but that's how I feel. If you feel like you can rock it, then you can, because you have the confidence to do so. But if you just need some guidance, don't take this as a literal reference book, like, oh, this said I had to wear A-line, so I better wear A-line. But it's just a good go-to if you're feeling like you're doubting yourself and you're like, maybe I should try that shape because I haven't before. Just take this with a grain of salt, because it's just a reference book. Fashion is what you make it. That's why we're here. This is what the channel's about. Being happy, making yourself happy, and being confident. Eventually, you know. Just use that as a reference. Don't take that book literally. If you don't want to wear A-line crap, don't wear A-line crap. If you don't want to wear poofy sleeves, don't wear poofy sleeves. If you want to wear a tank top, wear a tank top. Wear a pet poodle skirt. If it makes you happy and that's your style, wear it. Anyway, enough of my ranting and preaching about being yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 books left. Let's do this. I love this book. If you get nothing else from this, buy this book. The New York Lookbook is literally a publisher or author, 2 authors wandering around New York interviewing people like, why did you wear that? And it's just, oh, it's so much fun. It literally just shows a picture and talks about the person wearing it. Like, why are you wearing that color, or why do you dress like this, or like they even have families. It is just such a cute book. It's a little style book. It gives you inspiration, but also shows you like the inner workings of the New Yorkan. What do you call people from New York? Anyway, it just, do you thrift stuff? Where do you find what you wear? Why do you wear those shoes? What do you do for a living? And it's just, I love it. It's a great coffee table book. It's a great conversation piece. And I just, obviously I'm drawn to it because of her, because look at her rainbow socks. And look how fabulous she is. If I don't look like this when I'm older, we have a problem. Like, this is gold right here. She's just perfect. But yeah, this is a great book to have in your collection, or if you can at least borrow it from somebody and just take a look at it. It's just really interesting to read, and of course it has the photos, so you get to like explore New York in a way with all the interesting characters that live there, and it's just a fun book. And I do not remember how much this was. The SKU says it was $24.95, but who knows, I probably got it cheaper, but worth it. I like this one a lot. Alright, now that I'm done rambling about that book, I have 4 more left and we're at 20 minutes already, so I apologize. This is the more or less a lookbook, but just about the punk culture, so kind of like the Gothic books. This is the illustrated history of the evolution of punk, and I love this book so much. This was a splurge for me. I did have to buy it used on Amazon because I did not get it at half-price books for $10. I got it for like $5 on Amazon, but I just had to have it. It has pictures, yes, happy pictures in case you are not a big reader but you just want the inspiration, but it also has interviews and how punk started and why it started and from where it started, and if you just want to know the history of punk, obviously this is the book for you. But it also has some inspiration photos and the bands and was it CBGBs, and it's a Penguin book, which is a great publisher. They make a lot of nice coffee table conversation piece books, so this is worth a read if you're into the punk culture or just want some inspiration. They even talk about like Blondie and like what the more punk pop, like back in the day, popular punk music like Joan Jett, Blondie, and so on and so forth, Sex Pistols. This is just a good read if you are into classic punk or want to be informed on it. Down to 3, and they're all Japanese based. So we have the Tokyo Lookbook, which is just like the New York Lookbook, but it's just a smaller book. And this doesn't just have Harajuku in it, which I really appreciate. It just shows you all the different aspects of Tokyo Japanese fashion, traditional and subculture and alternative. And it still has little articles, young men at work, and tune in. It does little mini interviews, like I actually turned to fruits right there on this side, and it's just interviews and inspiration. They interview designers, how they get their ideas for their designs, a little bit of kawaii, a little bit of street fashion. It's just a good blend of everything, just like the New York Lookbook. So it's not just alternative or the fruits, Harajuku, kawaii, Lolita fashion. It's a little bit of everything. So this is another good read and another good lookbook to have in your collection. And 2 more. One is not so much Japan-based, but Japan-inspired. So we're going to get that one out of the way. If this is more costume and cosplay, obviously, as the title says, but it's just inspiring if you're a seamstress like me, or if you like dressing up, or you like, even if you're not into cosplay and cosplay. I've always heard it say cosplay, but I've heard a couple of people say cosplay. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I say it's cosplay in this video. So even if you're not into cosplay, you just like making costumes, this is a great book to look at and look into, because not only do they do the true characters for like different subcultures, it's not just anime or manga, it's also superheroes, and they also do steampunk in it, and that's like just fantastic. They do steampunk versions of other characters. There's a steampunk Catwoman right there. And it's just fun to look at. It tells you who made the costume, who the model is, and like who took the photo. It's just inspiring to look at, and like the effort people put into these costumes is just incredible. And if you're a fan of cosplay, you'll probably recognize a lot of the famous and like more influencer type cosplayers in this book. And it's just a great, again, big coffee table conversation inspiration book. It's filed under crafts, but I consider this more a fashion book or inspiration book, because it doesn't have how-tos. And I don't know, I just love the way people do their costume designs. It is just such a good book. Last but not least, we are wrapping it up. I mean, I have a ton of other fashion books I could show you. I mean, I could spend 4 hours talking to you, but I'm already pushing it 23 minutes, I'm sure. Because I'm going to leave a little card up above, because I did one book review, but just on my steampunk books, so I'll let you guys watch that if you haven't seen it already. There's 4 books just on steampunk. It's either 3 or 4, but yeah, I talked about them before. The very last book I'm going to talk about, which I do believe if you are into fruits, bright colors, cartoon anything, fluffy, furry, rainbow, this is the book for you. This is a book just about kawaii culture. That's it. it's just kawaii stuff. This is probably going to be like everybody's favorite book from all the people that follow me, I'm sure. But this was totally worth the purchase because it's not just fashion. They have food, they have sushi, they have cartoons, they have the restaurants you can go to where they dress up. Anything kawaii is in this book, and it is just incredibly inspiring to me. All the artwork, all like where the cartoons came from. Why do people in Japan obsess over cute things? It just has little tidbits, and just the photos are incredible. This is just the creme de la creme. It's a great read. Again, I turned to Fruits. It's an interview with the author, and Fruits was established in 1994. See, it's just why people dress up like maids. Well, we know why, but it just explains the culture of maid culture even. And just, here's another designer, Monster Girls, Tokidoki. There's a whole, basically almost a chapter on Tokidoki. So yeah, if you are into anything Japan influence or kawaii, anything cute, anything rainbow, look at the back. Just all these little, yes, all these little happy creatures. And look how happy she is. She says read me. So in case you didn't get enough books, I'm sure I'll do another book review soon, but I just wanted to do the fashion books so I can put those away and just bring them back out again when I need some inspiration. But those are pretty much my favorite fashion books for books I like to look at to get ideas if I'm feeling like kind of ho-hum about like my wardrobe, and just to like get a new idea, and like, yeah, you get the point. If you like this kind of thing, feel free, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe, hit that little bell down below. I talk about cats, Disney, fashion, thrifting, hair. We have fun here. We do not judge. And I think I want you to let me know what your favorite book was, or what you have not seen, or what the ones you already have looked at, and what you thought about them. And I will talk to you very soon. Pixi out. Love you guys.